Regatta 2024. Welcome to the Kuomboka ceremony recap you've been waiting on. And this is a focus on day 2. This one was such a fun day because we went to the harbor to watch something known as the regatta. I am going to get into that, but let's just wind it up a little bit. So I decided to go with my friend's daughter Nikki into town, but then she told me, Stu, you can't just be coming to Mongo and sitting in a car. Let us take the bus so you can experience what the locals actually experience on a day-to-day basis. I was like, girl, I'm from Lusaka. I know Lusaka buses, so I am not afraid. I got in the bus and it was such a beautiful festive feeling. Even the conductor was wearing a Siziba, guys. Where will you see that? Anyway, the views were beautiful, and before you knew it, we were actually in town and we took a walk right to the harbor. The harbor was buzzing with excitement. There were people carrying drums, there were people carrying xylophones, there were people carrying babies, and there were people like me just carrying conversations. But everything was just so nice. People were dressed really, really nice. And the thing about this is you have to get to the harbor early because so many people fill up the harbor. You need to find a comfortable place to stand or sit because you don't know when the paddlers are actually going to come. So luckily we found this beautiful boat where I actually got to get in and find a comfortable place to sit as I wait for the delegation of paddlers to sweep through. Luckily I found this xylophone which kept me a little bit company because yo guys, there's just waiting and waiting. So I found this man, and in a few minutes I'm going to tell you how him and I actually ended up connecting on a personal and deeper level. And that's the thing about our culture. I encourage young people to attend these traditional events because it helps bring us back to our roots as future custodians of these cultures. So me and this guy actually just played the xylophone, but then from there I got tired and then I had to go sit. Nikki had given up. I was about to throw in the towel as well because at this point I think we had been waiting for almost 4 hours and nothing. Luckily this Bemba man saved the day when he came to sell us these hats that I had actually been seeing all the Bemba delegates wearing, and I'm like, what is this? And he says it's something that comes from the Muputu tree. So what they do is actually get these bags and then they put them in water, and then there's a way in which they can manipulate them. So he manipulates the hats so that they can actually fit to your head perfectly. So that was him just manipulating the hats, and because they're wet, by the time they dry they can actually just have that kind of nice shape of your kamaskau like that. So I decided to get one for Nikki. She was not sure about it the first time, but I'm like, you know what, these are our VIP guests, the Bembas. So when in Rome, do what the Romans do, or when the Bembas are in Western Province, I put on that hat, girl. So I actually got myself that hat and they cost me just 100 kwacha for 2. So me and my new hat decided to take a walk back into the harbor to see what was happening because I'd been sitting quite far, and I found all these beautiful wild fruits. I saw a lot of people. You guys, there were so many people and there were so many performances at the front because there was actually a VIP tent where there were different delegates who had come to also witness the regatta. From there I just took a walk around the harbor, and let me tell you, when they say there were people, there was person kwenze muntu nekunani mutu. There were so many people I didn't even know what to do. I was scared, I was nervous, but everybody was just minding their business because there were so many vendors. They went to different stands, they were being entertained, and they were winning goodies. And on top of that, they were also offering eye tests and different screenings in the main hall, which was such a big shout out to the organizers. I saw different people from different regions, and next thing I knew it, I was back on the boat where I met this man, and I actually had to call him back because I made a Facebook live video. My mother saw it and she told me that is her long lost first cousin. They have not been in contact for a while, and she actually coincidentally just saw him on my Facebook live and told me to find him. The chills I got, you guys, the emotion this man experienced because he knew my mother. My mother would go to his house for holidays, but he had never met me. The joy he felt, the way he held me, the way we cried, and the way we talked just changed my life in that moment. And I was so glad I made the trip to Mongo. And before we could get into all the emotions and start crying, the regatta was there, you guys. So the regatta is actually a paddling competition where the best paddlers from different villages actually compete to see who is the best. There are different categories. There's some where they're racing in groups of 6, and there's some racing in groups of 3, and there's somebody there were also people who were doing like solo races. So there was so much buzzing adventure here on the water, you guys. And the thing is that there is so much strength, coordination, and tenacity involved in the regatta because Kikulakana, it's a sport. This is not just for fun, shame. They also get to win money, and they also win those bragging rights to show that they are the best paddlers. Kufuluha. They are paddling on the water, they are balancing, and they're showing so much strength. And the best part is that everybody is screaming and cheering on their favorites, because these are people from their villages, these are people from their towns. And don't forget that most of the people in Western Province, especially in Mongo, they use these canoes as a mode of transport because the plains are usually flooded. So this is something that they do on a daily basis, but they found a way in which they can actually do it for competition. So these guys were racing, and it was so fun. The atmosphere was electric. Everyone was screaming, and then there was such a huge commotion, and I'm like, what is going on? And then I looked, you guys, and there were women. Women were also paddling. Vasali neva Kufuluha. Women were paddling. I could not help myself. I screamed so loud, and I actually shed a couple tears because why? Girl power. I did not know that girls also go to paddle. I was amazed. My shook was shooketh, but this was just something so beautiful to witness, you guys, especially the ladies who were in their chitenges, who were still rowing with so much power and so much force, and they were balancing, and they had strategy. And then there was this hero with her maseka, with her beautiful chitenge, just rowing on the water as a solo competitor. This made me so happy. I just felt so included as a woman, and I was happy that the girls were taking part in the sport with the men. So pretty much people were just playing around the water now, showing off their skills, and others were still trying to make it to the finish line. But this was such a beautiful sport to witness. I was happy to be there, and the screaming was so good and so intense that up to today my voice has not been the same. But look at the beauty. You cannot blame me for screaming my lungs out, because I was happy to see these girls do their thing. From there, me and my newfound uncle actually took a walk where I got his number, because he didn't have a phone. I had to put it in his notebook. And then from there, I decided to just take a drive, and we looked at the plains. Look at how dry it was this year, but it was still absolutely beautiful. From there, we just made our way back into town because I was hungry. At this time, it was 15 hours. We had gotten to the harbor at 9 hours. So we were starving. We didn't eat anything because we didn't want to lose our spots on the bus. So we went to this place in town which was serving all sorts of food, and I decided to settle on the one thing that I love, which is katapa and sindambi. So sindambi is like the cousin to lumanda, and it's usually found in Western Province. There's a lot of it, so I was happy to get that. And of course I got it with my fish. I was so happy. I was so tired and exhausted, but then the best part is at the end of the day, in the night, we were all going to go to a concert. So I am going to tell you about the concert and which Zambians made it to the concert, which performers made it to the concert. So stay hooked for part 2.